As an improviser, there are three things that you could be doing harmonically when you play. You can outline the harmony, which means play melodic lines that give the listener the clear information of the harmony that you're playing over. You can hint at the harmony by using some elements of that harmony, some of the chord tones, or you can obscure the harmony. Today we're going to find out how to do each one of these three things and much more. When you listen to Bach or some stuff like that, let's say an unaccompanied violin piece, you're going to hear very clear outlining of harmony. That's what your ear is following. The thing that's actually taking it from place to place, because most of the rhythms are continuous, is this very clear voice leading between the chords. So if I want to, let's say, play the harmony of All of Me in a Bach style, what I really need to do is either play arpeggios of the chords in the tune or around the arpeggios and show you the moments that they change. Something like... That tune, I just went through the entire cobweb of harmony, playing exactly around the triad sounds and adding little bits of neighbor tones and enclosures to give a really, really clear picture of that. Now, when you ask most saxophonists how they play and how they practice, they don't really do this kind of thing. It's too on the nose. Sometimes they just want to hint at the harmony. So the question is, what does it mean to hint at a harmony? Well, let's start from the beginning, from outlining in the most basic way you can. Outlining in a boring way means just arpeggiating the chords themselves. So if I take the first four chords of All of Me, I have a C major, going to an E major, going to an A7, going to a D minor. So C major, E7, A7, D minor. If I'm just using the triads and adding nothing, I'm going to create a really, really clear picture of the harmony, but it's going to be a pretty shitty, boring solo. Even if I use a lot of rhythm, I can go... Not the worst, but not enough going on note-wise. Certainly not in the style. There's none of that chromatic behavior that you associate with jazz. Now, you can extend that sound by adding some approach notes, which are just notes a half step below the triads. So I'm just taking C and I'm just moving into each note from a half step below. I can also use neighbor tones, which are the notes above. The notes above tend to just be from whatever scale is associated with the chord, meaning the mode. So from Ionian, I have the 6 above the 5 of C, 4 above 3, 2 above 1. E, from harmonic minor, from Mixolydian flat 2, flat 6, I have half steps above every chord tone. I have flat 2 above 2, 4 above 3, flat 6 above 5. From D harmonic minor over the A, same thing I had over the E, half steps above the chord tones. Flat 2 over the 1, 4 above the 3, flat 6 above the 5, and then D minor, back to the major scale, back to Dorian, I have whole steps above everything. 2 above 1, 4 above flat 3, 6 above 5. Now, the way that you would use these notes has to do with where they land in time. And this is a big concept that a lot of people are sleeping on. They don't know how to explain it. And it's the concept of strong beats and weak beats. If I have a measure with 4 beats and I'm playing quarter notes, that gives me a really clear sense of the harmony. It's just boring, but it gives me a sense of the harmony. If I put an approach note or a neighbor tone on 1, it creates what's called a suspension. It's where I expect to hear the harmonic change and I'm delaying it. I can use that with a neighbor tone. A 1, 2, 3, 4. that sound keeps being suspended. If I put that tension on 2 instead of 1, it creates this smooth Mozart-y kind of voice-led sound where the tension is tucked into the sound. With neighbors, just creates this smooth line. If I put it on 3, it creates a weak suspension. Gonna start sounding like a walking bass line. If I put it on 4, it leads to whatever is in the next measure. It's smooth, but if it's an approach note, it's approaching whatever is next. So it foreshadows the chord change, meaning if I'm playing it on 2 measures of C, it will foreshadow the C in measure 2. But if it's C to E, it's going to foreshadow that E, like... moving into the harmony. So that principle really helps you not fuck up, because now you sort of understand, first of all, when you're hitting a suspension, that you have to resolve it. If you're putting a suspension on 1, then pretty soon after on 2 and 3, you're going to have to resolve that feeling. That it kind of, you can't just let that hang and pretend like that didn't happen. So it increases your awareness to practice in that way. Another thing that it really helps with is beat 4. You can now play into measures. So all that helps you play around the chord. But the question becomes, how do I not necessarily play around the chord? How do I hint at the harmony? And this is where the half note exercise really, really helps. Now, the half note exercise just has to do with playing within the modes over the chords and changing by the smallest interval available, either up or down. So that sounds complicated, but here it is. If I'm playing in C Ionian over the C, and then I'm going to A harmonic minor over the E, to D harmonic minor over the A, to D Dorian over the D, and I'm playing half notes, I have 2 notes in each scale per measure. So it's 4 notes on each chord total, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Now, because it's stepwise motion and I'm hitting 4 consecutive notes in the mode, what's called a tetrachord, then I'm always hitting some chord tones. So even if I start at a totally random place, here I hit the 2 of C, the root of C, the 7 of C, whatever, the 6 of C. When I went to that E, I hit its flat 6, 5 is a chord tone, 4, 3, so 2 chord tones, 2 tensions. But the ear gets this sense of what the mode is, and it's hinting at the harmony. It's not really giving you the harmony. If you heard that line unaccompanied, you might get a sense of the harmony, but you wouldn't get the harmony itself. You'd get... That line doesn't sound like this line. Here I'll play a line with that kind of rhythm, but with more scalar information. I'll play it more like a modern player would play a thing like that. It's floatier, and the sound is not as obvious. Now, the third thing I can do with my lines is I can obscure the harmony. I can really not give you anything. If I'm playing inside these modes, I'm still hitting a lot of chord tones, and chord tones are the real thing that make the line sound like the chord. Obviously, it's the arpeggio of the thing. So you can play it, you can play around it, that's outlining. You can play more modally, that's more hinting, or you can play substitutions that you know don't have a lot to do with the chords, and that's how a lot of modern guys really play. If I'm obscuring the harmony, I can choose notes that really are not chord tones on purpose. I could do it through substitutions. Like think about a D minor triad over that C that suspends it. Something like maybe a B flat major triad over the E, comes from altered. And then maybe a B flat minor triad over the A, and resolving to something weird over the D minor, like an E minor. They're inside the scales, but they don't outline the harmony at all. Check out like putting the bass notes back together and playing those kind of structures over the E. So everything's kind of like twisty and turny. Now, I don't play like that. I like actually spelling out the harmony a lot more closely than that, but a lot of modern guys do intentionally play things that obscure the harmony. So those are your modes of operation. Now, you don't have to just take one of them and run through that for the entire tune. You could choose a chord that you're going to sort of blur. Think about an impressionist painter that's blurring an object to where your eyes can't really make out what it is, but he's doing it on purpose. You can do that to a chord. If I play like F major on top of that E7, just for shits and giggles, like 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. So whenever I get that E7 twice in that form, I use this F major 7 arpeggio, which is, the notes are all a half step above that E7 in the scale in A harmonic minor, but it's sort of a mismatched suspended sound, right? But it creates an effect. It obscures the harmony. It makes it be like, ooh, I'm not sure what's happening there melodically. You hear that relationship to the bass, and the bass is giving you a part of the equation, but as a soloist, you want to make sure that you're aware of what you're doing. A good solo really does all three at points. Like when people, let's say, are playing blues language, they're just hinting at the harmony. That's what blues language does, that blues scale over all of me. A 1, 2, a 1, 2, 3, 4. That's the first half of all of me. Every time I hit that C minor pentatonic, either on the root or in a cadence, it was kind of giving you a little bit of a hint of where I was in the form. Something you see people like Metheny do is they'll take just a cell, a pattern that's just repetitive and chromatic, might start in, but then they'll just take it out, move it by half steps, whole steps, just stuff like that, you know, that's purely chromatic. It doesn't really have any harmonic purpose of being there. It just obscures the harmony, but they'll put it in a place in the form that leads somewhere, like a cadence. So I'm going to throw it in all of me on the A7, let's say, and just create this chromatic movement to D minor. And it's not going to make sense harmonically. It will be a point where I'm obscuring the harmony, but it will sound modern and kind of cool. A 1, 2, a 1, 2, 3. Now, if I take a progression that's less straight ahead and more like in the fusion realm, like a Herbie Hancock tune, like Cantaloupe Island that has 3 chords like F minor. Going to D flat 7, going to D minor. I'm not really looking to outline that harmony. It's very static and it's very boring. There's no real advantage of letting everybody know, hey, this is F minor. They hear it. It's very F minor. There's nothing left for the imagination, you know? It's just all of them hearing the bass line outlining an F minor 7 and the piano comping giving you a double stop the entire sound, and it's staying there so long that you just absorb it. So at that point, when the melody comes in and plays something like, it's redundant. You want to touch different areas of the scale. You want to hint at the harmony or obscure the harmony when it's static, when you're vamping. So if I have this, something I might concentrate on is like the sound of a G minor triad, meaning the triad that's a whole step up in the scale. This is in the key of E flat, F Dorian is the 2nd chord in E flat, so the 3 chord, that G minor. I can play around that, right? So in if I'm playing on that D flat 7, that D flat 7 comes from A flat melodic minor. It's a Lydian dominant chord. It's the 4 chord in that thing. The 5 chord is E flat 7. I can outline that E flat triad on it. Right? I can play around that sound to obscure the harmony on the D minor. I can play an E minor sound. That's the key of C. The 3 chord is E minor. It's like, ooh, like a breath of fresh air. The point is that you want to understand in each style that you play, what is the treatment of the melody? If it's a Bach fugue, it's going to outline exactly. If it's a Charlie Parker solo, there's going to be a balance between outlining and hinting with pentatonics and obscuring at times. If it's a Herbie Hancock tune, there's going to be very, very little outlining happening. It's all going to be just floating the melody and make it go into these moments where it's just hinting and moments where it's just obscuring, ignoring. So you want to have an ear for what's happening in the music and choose what to do accordingly. If you dig this content, please check out our Patreon for a chance to win a free month there. It's the best Patreon on earth, I guarantee it. Leave a comment, leave a whatever, subscribe, and I'll see you next time.